Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something totally fascinating. We're going to trace the evolution of a concept that, well, you might think it's just stuck in ancient history books, right? But as we'll see, it is very much alive and well today. We're talking about the evolution of idolatry. We'll track its crazy journey from people bowing down to ancient physical statues, all the way to the modern habits happening right inside our own living rooms. Actually, think about this for just a second. Do you blindly worship a sports team? Or beyond that, what in your life gets your absolute ultimate devotion? Like what dictates your mood, your daily schedule, your bank account? Let's really dive into this, because the answer might completely reframe how you look at your everyday choices. So what is idolatry exactly? To figure out how this plays into our modern lives, we kind of need to strip it right back to the beginning. At its most strict, baseline definition, idolatry is the worship of a physical object or an image as if it were a god. And the absolutely crucial word there is physical. Traditionally, this whole idea is centered around tangible things, stuff you could touch, see, or physically build with your own two hands. But the idea expands way beyond literal carvings. And this brilliantly illustrates how, fundamentally, idolatry means taking anything in the created world, like money, power, or honestly, even another person, and treating it with this ultimate reverence that was traditionally reserved for the divine. It's really all about elevating everyday elements of the world to a status they were just never meant to hold. Now let's look at the traditional religious view. This is where the term actually started and how it was understood for thousands of years by cultures all over the map. If you crack open ancient historical and religious texts like the Bible or the Quran, idolatry is almost always described in super physical terms. We're talking about literally bowing down to statues, animals, or even elements of nature. The core issue these texts present is the elevation of these physical, earthly creations to the absolute supreme status of a deity. And because of that, major monotheistic religions, specifically Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, strictly prohibit idolatry. The whole point of this strict ban is to keep absolute focus on the one true God. The big theological argument here across all these faiths is that humanity has to avoid the trap of worshiping the creations, right? And instead keep that worship strictly for the Creator. So let's move to and see how this builds into our current reality. We're basically trading the ancient for the everyday. We're swapping out literal statues and animals for things like career and wealth. The objects of affection have totally changed, but that underlying human behavior, it remains incredibly similar. And that brings us to the modern, figurative view of idolatry. This is where the concept gets a massive twist. Modern theologians have updated the definition of it, moving it from golden temple statues to our bank accounts. So the crucial point is that they describe modern idolatry simply as placing anything as the ultimate concern in your life. It's not really about physically bowing down anymore. It's about what you prioritize mentally and emotionally above literally everything else. So I gotta ask you directly, have things like your career, your wealth, or even your relationships secretly taken the top spot in your life? Are they your ultimate concern? Because here's the thing, if these creations are dictating your ultimate sense of worth and security, then they're functioning as modern-day idols. We also see this bleed over into everyday secular language, especially when we talk about blind devotion. Even totally outside of a religious context, we use the word idolatry to describe this unhealthy, excessive admiration or reverence for someone or something. And man, we see this excessive admiration directed absolutely everywhere today, right? Especially towards celebrities and sports teams. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is, if you think about it, a fanatical, face-painting obsession with a sports team is technically the modern equivalent of worshiping a golden calf. The venue has just changed from an ancient altar to a modern sports stadium. It's wild. As we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with one final, provocative thought. Are you worshiping the Creator or the creation? Whether you look at this through a strict religious lens or just a modern psychological one, this core question really challenges our daily priorities. Take a close look at what gets your absolute ultimate devotion today. You might just be surprised by what you find.